Hi everyone, and welcome to the Vue Floating Action Button tutorial. Using this component, you can create a circular or rounded button that appears to float above the user interface. In this video, I will show you how to create a Vue application and add the Syncfusion Vue Floating Action Button component to it. I will show you how to integrate the floating action button into the Vue list component, and how to display and position an icon, change the button position, and customize the button styles. I will start with the application creation process. I'm going to create a Vue application using the Vue v command. Make sure you have installed the latest versions of Vue and Node.js. To create a project in Vue, I open Visual Studio Code and type the command npm create v at latest. I provide the app name, my Vue app. Next, I choose Vue as the framework and JavaScript as the variant. The Vue project has been created. I navigate to the newly created Vue app and install the required dependencies using the npm install command. Now the application is configured with the default settings of a Vue project. To add the Syncfusion Vue Floating Action Button component, I install the Syncfusion Vue Buttons package using the command npm install at syncfusion/ej2 Vue Buttons --save. This command will install the Vue Buttons package along with its dependencies. Once the installation is completed, the application is ready to use. The first thing I must do here is register the trial license key to use the Syncfusion components. I open the main.js file and import the register license method from the Syncfusion ej2 base package. Using this method, I register the trial license key. To see how to generate the license key, refer to the link in the description below. The application is now configured to use Syncfusion Vue components. To start using the floating action button, I open the app view page and remove the default code snippets. Then, I import the floating action button component from the Syncfusion Vue Buttons package. As I said before, I want to integrate the floating action button into the ListView component and add a new list item when clicking on it. So let me install the Syncfusion Vue Lists package using the command npm install at syncfusion/ej2 Vue Lists --save. Then I import the ListView component from the Lists package. To apply styles to the floating action button and ListView, I add CSS references by importing the material theme. I add the floating action button by adding the FAB tag and set the content as add. As I said, I am going to integrate the ListView component, so I add the existing ListView code snippet here. A clear explanation of this code snippet is given on the documentation page, which you can find in the link below. I save the changes and run the application using the npm run dev command. The ListView component is rendered with the provided data, and the floating action button renders at its default position on the page. Now let's integrate this floating action button into the ListView. To identify the target element, I set the ID property of the ListView with an appropriate value. I assign it to the target property of the floating action button. Checking now, the floating action button is integrated into the ListView. Next, I will show you how to add a new list item by clicking this button. I add the onClick event with the event handler onButtonClick. I define the onButtonClick handler method, and within it, I create a new item with text and ID fields. To add this new item to the list view, I need to access the props and methods of the list view dynamically. So let me create an instance for the list view using the ref attribute. To use the ref attribute, I should import it from Vue. Then I initialize the list view instance. Inside the onButtonClickHandler method, I invoke the built-in addItem method using the ListView component instance and pass the new item array to it. You can see the new item is added to the list when the Add button is clicked. I can also add an icon to the button. To do that, I add the icon CSS property and set the predefined classes the icons and new plus to it. You can now see the plus icon is displayed on the floating action button. By default, the icon displays to the left of the text. You can also display it on the right, top, or bottom. To change the icon position to the right, I set the icon position property to right. You can see the icon rendered at the right side. The default position of the floating action button on the target is the bottom right. We can place it on the top left, top center, top right, and middle or bottom for those positions as well. To demonstrate this, I set the position property to the top right. And here the button renders as expected. Finally, I will show how to apply built-in button styles. The default style is primary. Now I will render the button without any background color using the outline class. I add the CSS class property and set the outline class to it. You can see the button renders with the outline style. In this video, I have shown you how to add the Syncfusion Vue Floating Action Button component to a Vue application. You have also seen how to integrate the floating action button into the list view, display and position icons, and change the button's position and styles. If you want to see a working example, download it from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also provided a link to check if you qualify for a free license key to use our Vue products through our community license. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.